Today on the Flavors and Knowledge podcast, an exciting exploration of the birth of the doggy bag, from wartime thrift to everyday ritual. Long before paper sacks and foil swans appeared at the end of a meal, people found ways to carry food home. In ancient Rome, dinner guests often brought their own napkins, which served dual purposes, wiping hands and mouths between courses, and by around the 6th century BCE, wrapping leftover morsels to take away. The practice was practical in an era without refrigeration and socially acceptable, since hospitality included sharing abundance rather than discarding it. Similar customs appeared in other cultures, where leftovers might go to servants, the poor, or household animals. The modern doggy bag, however, is a distinctly American invention born of scarcity, pet ownership, and a polite fiction. The contemporary story begins in the 1940s United States during World War II. Food rationing and shortages made waste unpatriotic. Pet owners were encouraged to feed table scraps to dogs and cats when commercial pet food was scarce. Restaurants, however, had not yet standardized packaging for unfinished plates. In 1943, cafés in San Francisco began offering pet packets, cartons diners could request for leftovers destined for Fido. Around the same time, hotels in Seattle provided wax paper bags labeled bones for Bowser. The idea spread. Eateries across the country started providing similar containers, framed explicitly as a kindness to animals and a hedge against waste. The pretext was important. Asking for leftovers for personal consumption could signal stinginess or gluttony in an era when dining out still carried social weight. Claiming the food was, for the dog, offered cover. By the late 1940s, the practice had a commercial backbone. One frequently cited origin point is Dan Stampler's steak joint on Greenwich Avenue in New York City. Customers requested bags for bones and scraps. Stampler responded with greaseproof bags featuring his Scottish Terrier and the name Doggy Bag. Bagcraft Corporation of Chicago, founded around 1948 by Albert Meister and partners, manufactured these specialized containers and supplied restaurants more widely. Jane Meister later wrote a light-hearted poem printed on millions of bags. Oh where have your leftovers gone? Oh where can they be? If you've had all you can eat, please bring the rest home to me. Other restaurants, including Lori's The Prime Rib in Beverly Hills and the Old Homestead Steak House in New York, have also claimed early adoption of the concept or the name. The precise first is less important than the rapid diffusion. Early printed references to Doggie Pack or Doggie Paks appear by 1952. Doggy Bag itself surfaces in newspapers in the mid-1950s, with the Oxford English Dictionary citing evidence from 1957. Even as the bags proliferated, social acceptance lagged. Etiquette authorities remained wary. Emily Post's 1968 column declared she did not approve of taking leftover meat home from restaurants. Doggy bags, she insisted, should be restricted to bones for pets. Many diners felt the same unease. Requesting one could feel like admitting poverty or greed. Newspaper advice columns of the 1960s and 1970s received letters asking whether it was proper to ask for a bag if one did not actually own a dog. Economic pressure helped normalize the practice. Larger American portion sizes, rising food costs, and the inflation of the late 1970s made leaving food behind feel wasteful. A Pittsburgh columnist later dubbed 1980 the year of the doggy bag. High-end restaurants that once resisted gradually relented. By the 1980s and 1990s, the polite fiction largely dissolved. People openly took leftovers for tomorrow's lunch. Containers evolved from waxed paper bags to sturdy foam or plastic clamshells, often offered proactively by servers with the simple question, "Would you like a box?" The term "to go" largely replaced doggy bag in everyday speech, though the older name persists with affectionate irony. The doggy bag reveals deeper attitudes toward food, money, and manners. In the United States, it became a democratic gesture, practical, unapologetic, and aligned with a utilitarian view of value for money. Americans tend to lack the airs and graces that make asking for leftovers feel undignified elsewhere. The practice also dovetailed with growing environmental awareness. Food waste is a major contributor to landfills, and packing leftovers is an easy personal countermeasure. Elsewhere, the picture differs. In Britain, surveys have shown significant embarrassment around requesting containers. Many diners worry it looks greedy or cheap. French dining culture often treats the meal as a complete, time-bound experience rather than a transaction that includes ownership of the remnants. Portion sizes tend to be smaller, and asking for a doggy bag can imply dissatisfaction or thriftiness considered inelegant. Italy has seen similar reluctance, sometimes labeling the request vulgar. In parts of Asia, practices vary. Chinese diners may freely request packaging, while Korean etiquette can favor leaving a small amount on the plate as a sign of satisfaction. Campaigns in Europe and elsewhere have tried to reframe leftover packaging as environmental responsibility rather than social failure, with some jurisdictions encouraging or requiring restaurants to offer it. Socially, the doggy bag has always carried quiet class signals. For middle-class diners in mid-century America, it offered a way to practice thrift without appearing poor. For others, it was simply common sense. Today, it sits at the intersection of sustainability, portion inflation, and shifting norms around hospitality. Servers who once hesitated now routinely offer boxes. Diners who once whispered the request now expect them. From Roman napkins to wartime pet Pakits to the ubiquitous to-go container, the doggy bag traces a long arc of human reluctance to waste good food. Its American birth in the 1940s gave it a memorable name and a charming, if transparent, excuse involving dogs. What began as a wartime and etiquette workaround became an unremarkable part of restaurant culture, and a small daily act against excess. Whether the leftovers actually reach a dog is almost beside the point. The bag itself remains a quiet testament to practicality, changing manners, and the persistent human desire to make the most of a meal. Ultimately, dear followers, thanks for listening and for the privilege of your time. In conclusion, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us on today's journey through flavor and discovery. You'll find all the relevant links in the show notes, including details on our cooking classes, the full notes and recipes from this episode, and our calendar for culinary tourism tour. Be sure to subscribe to our free newsletter to stay connected and informed. Remember to taste thoughtfully, cook with passion, and continue exploring the boundless world of food. Subscribe for more, share with a fellow food enthusiast, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep your eyes on the fire and stay curious. The content for this episode is written by Chef Walter and produced by Simval Media, USA.